Hello everyone, Andy Wolverton here from Journeys in Darkness and Light with the new releases in film noir for December 2021. New release offerings in December are typically slim since most companies limit production during the holidays, but we do have a few items to take a look at while you're trying to escape the bombardment of holiday music, which could understandably lead you to a life of crime. So, let's embrace a little sanity and take a look at the new releases for December. We kick off the month on December the 6th with a release from the UK company Eureka from their Masters of Cinema line. We have Champion from 1949, starring Kirk Douglas as boxing champ Midge Kelly. Told in flashback, we learn how Midge worked his way to the top, his relationship with his crippled brother, played by Arthur Kennedy, and his marriage to a woman named Emma, played by Ruth Roman. Now, Midge is not an upright guy. He's brash, ungrateful, and an egomaniac, stepping on anyone who stands in his way. But was he always like this? Douglas earned his first Oscar nomination for the film, which also stars Marilyn Maxwell and one of my favorite character actors, Paul Stewart. This new release is probably struck from the same Paramount remaster that we saw on the 2013 Blu-ray from Olive. That Olive release contained no extras whatsoever, but this Eureka release contains a new audio commentary from Jason A. Nye, and a collector's booklet with new writing from critic Richard Combs and a piece on boxing in cinema by author-screenwriter S.B. Cave. Once again, this is a Region B release. Now, Blu-ray.com says this next one will be released on December the 7th, but that might get delayed a week. Regardless, Warner Archive brings us Angels with Dirty Faces from 1938, directed by Michael Curtiz. This is the third Dead End Kids movie, which started in 1937 with Dead End, featuring a group of young actors from New York City playing tough street kids from the Lower East Side. Here, the kids spot a newcomer and quickly lift his wallet. What they don't realize is they've tapped the notorious Rocky Sullivan, played by James Cagney, who just got out of prison. Soon, the kids are idolizing Rocky, which upsets Father Jerry Connolly, played by Pat O'Brien, who's trying to put the kids on the straight and narrow. Rocky meets up with his old pal James Frazier, played by Humphrey Bogart, but they have a falling out. Actually, a falling out doesn't even begin to describe what happens next. Angels with Dirty Faces also stars Ann Sheridan and features an ending that's still talked about today. Although this is a gangster movie and was made in 1938 before the recognized period of film noir, you must see Angels with Dirty Faces. No word on extras. Also on December 7th, we have a new 4K restoration of The Long Goodbye from 1973. Now, if you haven't seen it, Robert Altman's take on Raymond Chandler's famous detective, Philip Marlowe, may not be quite what you'd expect. Many film noir fans embrace Altman's departure from the classic film noir mood and style, but just as many can't stomach the picture. Elliot Gould is either terrific or awful, depending on who you ask, but it's also got Sterling Hayden, so there you go. The film has been available before from Kino Lorber back in 2014 and a 2013 Region B release from Arrow. Now this new release keeps the same extras from the 2014 disc and adds a new audio commentary by Tim Lucas and featurettes on Altman, Chandler, and hard-boiled fiction in general. Again, this release is struck from a new 4K restoration from an Interpositive. Next up, an Alfred Hitchcock film that many of us may have never seen, although it has been available in some pretty awful DVD editions. This is number 17 from 1932. Okay, it may be a stretch to call this a film noir or even a pre-film noir, but it is Alfred Hitchcock. And this is Hitchcock pointing to some of his more masterful work, which would come just a couple of years later. Number 17 is probably best described as a comedy thriller. Now, during this period, Hitchcock based many of his films on stage plays, and this is one of them. After committing a jewel robbery, a group of thieves hide out in an old house, thus the number 17 of the title, near a railway stop. Only 63 minutes long, this film manages to cram in a missing necklace, mistaken or false identities, fighting, an escape attempt by train, tons of shadows, and much more. One critic at the time called it highly entertaining, but practically incomprehensible. Hitchcock himself called it a disaster, but I'm still going to pick it up, as I'm sure many other Hitchcock fans will too. This release comes from a new 4K restoration completed by the BFI and includes a new audio commentary by critic Peter Tunget, an audio interview from Hitchcock Truffaut, and the half-hour documentary Hitchcock: The Early Years. And on December the 14th, Kino Lorber releases its 5th box set of film noir, The Dark Side of Cinema. This set brings us 3 more Universal films, and in keeping with some of their previous box sets, this one contains titles that have some elements of film noir, but they're mixed with other genres as well. So let's take a quick look at each of the films in this set. First up, Because of You from 1952, the first of 2 films directed by Joseph Pevney. Loretta Young plays Christine Carroll, a young blonde woman, all set to marry her fiancé, Mike, played by Alex Nichol. But Mike hides some stolen loot in Christine's purse, making her an accessory. Both Mike and Christine get nabbed and wind up in prison. Christine becomes a model prisoner, becoming a nurse's aide in the prison infirmary, and earns a quick release. Mike, however, is still in the joint. Now working in a legit hospital, Christine cares for and falls for a wounded combat flyer named Steve, played by Jeff Chandler. Steve doesn't know about Christine's past, much less that Mike is going to be out of prison soon, so look out. Because of You is less a noir thriller and more of a melodrama, but the noir element is certainly a big part of the film. The disc includes an audio commentary by critic Sam Deegan and a theatrical trailer. Next, Outside the Law from 1956, directed by Jack Arnold. Not to be confused with the 1930 Edward G. Robinson picture of the same name. This film's premise is familiar to anyone who's watched even a few 1950s noir titles. Ex-con John Conrad, played by Ray Danton, is recruited by a U.S. Treasury agent to go undercover, infiltrating an international counterfeiting operation. Conrad is further enticed when the agent tells him these are the same people who murdered his buddy Harry, played by Stuart Wade. But taking the job means Conrad will be working under the supervision of his father, played by Onslow Stevens, and they've got some major issues. Maybe Harry's widow, played by Lee Snowden, knows something. There's a lot going on in this movie, but there's not a lot of extras. A trailer and a new audio commentary by critic Richard Harlan Smith. And the set concludes with another Joseph Pevney film, The Midnight Story from 1957. Tony Curtis plays Joe Martini, a San Francisco traffic cop who was practically raised by a local priest. When the priest is murdered, Joe wants to slide over to the homicide division to help with the investigation. But the division lieutenant, played by Ted DeCorsia, says forget it. Undeterred, Joe goes undercover to infiltrate the family of the likeliest suspect of the crime. Interesting. 2 Joseph Pevney movies, 2 movies that have some noir element, but could be more drama-based. Now, the last couple of Kino sets had this same type of noir/drama setup, and some of those were quite good. So we'll see. A new audio commentary from Jason A9 and a theatrical trailer sum up the extras on this one. Well, that's going to do it for December. I hope you find something for yourself or the film noir lover in your life. And if you haven't already done so, I hope you will check out my Film Noir Holiday Gift Guide video, which I've linked to below. So, happy holidays, everyone take care, be safe, and take in some great film noir. Thanks for watching.